Hey teachers, Melissa Willis here with Melissa Willis Music, where I take my very analog dinosaur studio online. So I'm happy to share some more with you today. Someone had requested I do a video on how I keep my materials organized. So I'm going to try to do this video in two parts. This first part where I just talk a little bit, and then I will take my camera and kind of go around the studio and talk as I show you some things. So if all goes well, you'll see both parts in one video via my very limited editing skills. So, but they're getting better because of all of all of these new things I'm learning. So the first thing I guess I would say about my organization and about anyone organizing is that I pick a system. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I keep an open mind, so if something doesn't work, I change it. So I very quickly let go of finding the perfect system from the start, and so I sort of learn a lot through trial and error. And then I'm just willing to change things. So that's the first thing I would say. In other words, even what I show you of my systems, they might not make sense to you, they might not work for you, and that's totally okay. So just be willing to decide on something, try it out for a while. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then just try something else. So that being said, I'm a big fan of assigned spaces. So I try everything that I have. I'll be the first to admit that I probably have too much. I've continually tried to streamline what I have. My studio is actually just in a relatively small bedroom. It's not a really big space. It's a pretty full space. And so it's important that everything has an assigned place, because otherwise it would be total chaos. So everything has an assigned space, and everything is labeled. So I'm a big fan of assigned spaces and a big fan of labels. And then I'm always kind of thinking about, what I'm using, what I'm not using, and I'm always filtering things out, especially as I'm filtering new things or bringing new things in, I guess. And really deciding what I'm using and what I'm not using, because again, my space is small, so if I bring in new things, I really do have to send new things out. I use a lot of digital materials, but I don't like reading music on an iPad or on a computer screen, so I actually have hard copies of everything. That's just how I roll. I actually am envious of people who are comfortable reading digitally. I don't enjoy that. Like, it just sort of takes away the joy. So I've read all of Marie Kondo's books, and I can't remember the title now, but about things that bring you joy. And I think touching books and music, and I think that's why I use a dry erase magnetic board over some of like the Zoom wipe screens. It brings me joy to have physical things to touch. So I don't know if that's a right brain or a left brain thing, a creative thing, or what. Maybe it's an age thing. So anyway, so assigned spaces, labeling, and then just really being aware of things that I'm using and not using, so that my space doesn't become too full. And even with that in mind, I actually have a whole lot of stuff. So I teach both piano and flute. So I have kind of two studios going on in one here. So there's a lot of piano music, but there's also a lot of flute music and different teaching tools. So I'm trying to think of anything else helpful I can say before I actually take you on my studio tour. As far as trying to figure out what materials to keep and what materials to get rid of, I've downsized now several times. I made a big downsize before we actually relocated here 3 years ago when I went to all online teaching. And most of what I got rid of, I did not rebuy. There were a few things that I did end up rebuying, but the cost of that compared to, well, the cost to move it, the effort to move it, and all of that actually was very minimal compared to all the stuff that I actually got rid of and unloaded. So, and I'm going to continue to do that because I have so many new digital resources now, and so I'm trying to sort of decide what to keep out of some of my older materials versus what I have for some new things. But that's just a big, excuse me, that's just a big job. The Music Mind Games materials, frankly, have really helped me downsize a lot of my extra games and things. So that's been really helpful. I used to have multiples of lots of games, but once I went to online teaching, I didn't need all those multiples to lend out to students because I didn't have local students anymore. And I'm not going to send big bulky games obviously through the mail. So I just sort of have one of each game that I really like and that I find works best for the most amount of students. And then my Music Mind Games materials, while they were a big investment up front to get all of the things, they pretty much let me do everything I want to do, which is why you're seeing them all the time in my videos. So they're very, very versatile, flexible, durable, and all of that. So I think that is all. So I'm going to sign off here. And then hopefully in my fancy edited video, I'll flip the screen and then you'll be able to see all the things, and I'll kind of talk you through what I have. Alrighty, I hope this is helpful. See you on the other side soon. Hey teachers, I am back on the other side of the camera, which feels a little bit strange that I'm talking, but you're just looking at inanimate objects here. But I wanted to kind of give you a tour of my organization, and I hope it's helpful. So a few of these things I covered in another studio organization video. This one will be a little bit more detailed, but I thought I would just add a few of these things. So I try to keep a working triangle when I'm actually teaching. So I have lots of things on top of the piano. So for example, here, these little plastic containers I got at the dollar store. And I think dollar stores, I think they're still open for maybe curbside pickup. I'm not sure. I think I checked here once to see if they were open, so I'm not positive. And I know things are starting to open again. So, but those are just from the dollar store. Those little plastic, these little, whoops, these little plastic containers. I can't find things through my camera here. And so I have my erasers in there. I've got my Grand Staff cards, flashcards, alphabet cards, blue Jello cards, rhythm cards, paint strips, my little mini dry erase. So all of those things are just up there and easily accessible. So if I need them in a lesson or I haven't planned to use them, I can still grab them real quick. And then I have my ladybug, my giraffe for my slouchy giraffe, some different items. So I use this just for finger strength that I can demonstrate to students. And some of my students have these. And this actually is I don't know if you can see that, is a Melody Bober thing, but you can, yeah, for finger strength, to get the handkerchief in your hand. So I've got some of those things sitting up there, and of course my metronomes, my timers, and all that good stuff. So, and then over here, just my clipboards and things. So, then over here, this is where my my iPad camera would normally be for teaching. You can see my tripod and my attachment there. Then I have this great, I feel like this should be in portrait mode maybe, but anyway, I've got this great tower of drawers, and they are not labeled, but I use them enough that I actually know pretty much what's in all of them. So kind of, these are all my office supplies. So I have like all my post-it notes, sticky note labels and tabs, and you can see, like I said, I have too much. Remember I told you that. These are all my labels. And then, oh, file tabs. You can see I have too much of those. These are all the different file tabs and things. Oh, staples, rulers, paper punches, stamps, kind of miscellaneous in there. All my extra pencils, highlighters, pens. Did I say I have too much? There's all my highlighter tape, some eraser covers, some electrical tape, mostly all tape in here except for those spare erasers, I guess. Clips, rubber bands, paper clips, all of those kinds of things in there. These are just Ziploc bins, and I think this again is from the dollar store, maybe, I don't know. And then Post-it tape. So I found out about this at a Diane Heidi workshop and just loved it. My whiteout, a stray washi tape, and some more overflow highlighters and dry erase markers. Because I have too much, I have overflow sometimes. And this is just a crafting drawer, packaging tape, ribbons, anything I might need, glue. And then notebooks, index cards, things like that. So, and you can see I like words. Dream big, set goals, take action. So that actually comes in really, really handy, and I just kind of know where everything is. It makes everything really easy to find. Then behind there, you can see my big, I'm a huge fan of binders, especially pretty binders. Yeah. But if you look closely, you'll notice everything is pretty clearly labeled. So I've got all my digital downloads, Composers Community, Jennifer Eklund, Compose Create, oh gosh, Piano Book Club, every blog, everything is just very much categorized. And again, like I said in the beginning, sometimes, I'm trying to think specifically, like the Piano Book Club, that was a small binder, and then it had to be a big binder. And I've had to sometimes rearrange these and just relabel them because either one binder becomes too big because I buy too much from that person. Maybe not too much, but I buy a lot from that particular person. But those are all well labeled. And then if you look below my desk, those are binders that I tend to use really regularly during every lesson. So I've got some technique things, my Carol Matz books, which I just started using actually with some online students. I'm excited about that. Some of my improv and composing materials, and then I just have a binder of some different digital early elementary, late elementary, and some other Wonder Keys things that I use. Almost a lot of my students are using those. So those categories, again, they make sense to me. So when you're dividing things up in binders and combining them, just pick categories that work for you. And these things have morphed kind of into things that work. And then my little llama thing is just all my assignment sheets, and that's organized by day of the week. So, and then that pile of books is music I'm working on for a virtual performance for a nursing home. And then I've got this little bin that just has, oh gosh, I know what's in there. Pens and pencils. It has some sticker. I'm a big fan of these kinds of plastic envelopes for storage. Again, these are from the dollar store, so I have some stickers in there that I use. And these folders, again, are just some organizational things from some different courses I'm doing online, my bullet journal, payment things, all of that there. So, now my music, you can see, so my husband built me these wonderful shelves, and I got these magazine files. So all my sheet music is organized by level. That worked really well for me. And then I have a lot of my popular music, sacred music, classics down in here. Let's see. All my fake books, popular music, kind of all on one shelf. And then all the supplemental repertoire by composers. So there's, you can't see it because my red bins, but Robert Vandel's back there, Melody Bilber, Timothy Brown, etc., etc., etc. So those are there. And then some books, I don't know if you can see here, like I have fall and Halloween books separated out. I have some miscellaneous where it's just one composer, so I have miscellaneous intermediate books. I know I have a category for attention grabbers, for Gold Star Faber books, and then I have some more classical things there. So again, these are just all categories that have worked for me, and sometimes one doesn't work and then I have to, you know, redo it. This is my rolling bin that has, again, a lot of my online teaching tools in. So it has all my color pencils, erasers, flare pens, finger puppets, erasers, bead counters, more giraffes, more erasers, a lot of, again, my rhythm cards, and just different things that I use at any given time. So I can just roll that out next to me when I'm teaching. It just kind of stays back there in the corner. And then if I go way back high, those are all my Christmas and duet books up higher. So I put obviously the things I used less often, like Christmas and duets, up higher. And then at the very top are all the American Music Teacher journals, keyboard companions. And some of those I've actually had to start, much to my dismay, I've had to tear out articles. And actually what I did for articles that I tore out is I have some down here that say miscellaneous articles, journal articles. So I have those in there. But anyway, so that's kind of how that rolls. Then if we go down to the bottom here, These are, so I have these, I'm a big fan of these big 31 bags. I had them monogrammed with my studio name, which is very, very luxurious. But these are all my different board games. So I have Hi-Ho Cherry-O for rhythm. I have Candylands that I've made for notes and key signatures and different things. I won't dig all those out. But if you want to know about all the ways to use Candyland, you just drop me a note on this post or underneath the video. Musopoly is a Music Mind Games thing. And then my other games that aren't Music Mind Games, so like here's a Susan Paradis one, the Bats and Staff. So again, I'm a big fan of these folders. I think I have, oh, this is Bats and Cats White Keys, the Ladybug, and I've got some other things in here, but again, I'm a fan of labels, and I'm a fan of keeping things in containers, so I'm not having to sort through things. So that's kind of what's in there, and then I have like some of my Space Place kind of games in there as well, and these are 31 too. I think there's many of off-brands now. And then I always keep a bin of just extra music that I can give to students if I have students who can't afford to buy things. Some have been donated back to my studio from previous students, or just music I've cleared out that I'm not going to use anymore. And then maybe other students will use it, or maybe eventually I'll sell it, things like that. And then over here, this is just another bin of a lot of my, I've got washi tape in there, my xylophone. So again, I know what's in here. My award, different award charts and things in here, progress charts, I should say award charts, but the little charts that you can, you know, here, let me just show you these kinds of charts where you're keeping track of different goals. So, and I have more puppy packs that are down in there. And then I have another bin here. Oh, that has my magic notes, my transparencies, my magic wands. Again, more Music Mind Game little things. So, and again, I like words. The secret to having it all is knowing that you already do. And then this little bin here is all my different little rhythm instruments. Oh, and not just rhythm instruments, because obviously that's a flute instrument, but all those kinds of shakers and things all go in there. So again, it's just, I kind of know where things are. So you really have to kind of find a system that works for you. Now, more binders. Can you believe it? Now, some of that is personal stuff and just not studio stuff. This is my studio, but also kind of my personal office. So there's some journaling things and blog things there. And then this is my catch-all. I do have a catch-all where I put things that I still need to go through or sort through that I don't know where to put. And I try to never let it get fuller than that. That's pretty full, actually. It's been kind of a crazy time. So I need to go through that and figure out what to do. Or I might put music there that I want to go through for a student. And then I'm also a fan of wooden cubes, if you haven't noticed. And then again, that's student music down there. So you see my mom has her own file. I teach my mom piano. And the one on the left is another family that has a lot of kids, and I always have things that I'm thinking of for them in there. And then my file cabinet is just, I have piano music and flute repertoire by composer. So that's, you know, like the Beethoven and the Bach, the very serious stuff. And then I have all my flute supplemental, solo and duet collections, and then my flute technique, methods, and etudes, and then flute ensemble on the bottom. So, yeah, I guess that's mostly flute stuff. And then up on the top, so clear bins, you can see that. I'm a big fan of clear bins and labels. So again, you can see now some of these things like Music Money, I haven't used my Music Money in ages. I'm contemplating getting rid of that. Can you believe it? Game pieces, practice cards, and then all my Music Mind Game stuff is there on the left. And then interval cards, a prize box, which again I don't use very often anymore with online teaching. All my clothespins, puzzle pieces, plastic cups for the rhythm stuff with Wendy Stevens at Compose Create. Rainbow bells, more puppy packs and xylophones, kind of a miscellaneous box. All my stickers, sorry about the glare. As you can see, I have too many stickers. And then just a bin of all the different rhythm games I have, note reading games, and some more flute stuff, pentascales, finger strength, Fleece pianos. So basically, again, I know what's in all of these. They're all labeled, so I can easily find things when I need it. And then and those are things, honestly, I use less often, and that's why they're up high. I am not very tall. I'm not even 5'2". So if I want something that I'm going to use all the time, it's not going to be up there. But that way, when I do need something, I can easily find it. And then, oh, I just, again, have another... Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that. I accidentally pushed a button I shouldn't have. So again, just another sort of bin of miscellaneous things in here that I use. So then over here, these are all of my Music Mind Game, some of the classroom things, my Blue Jello puzzle notes, the Real Rhythm cards. This is actually a pot rack for dishes. Or I guess a pan lid rack. I got it at Target. And it works really well to kind of store all of these things. So it just has a bunch of different dividers like that. And then, I hope I'm not making you all seasick with this camera. And then over here, I keep kind of all my paper pianos. And again, everything is labeled. My big Blue Jello cards, Real Rhythm cards, I guess, are over there. So if that's mislabeled. But more dry erase things, and another board here. I've got one of these and one of those. So again, those are all really easily accessible. And last but not least, look at this. I have another bookshelf. No binders, but again, sort of all my pedagogical music-related books are in here. And then down here, again, I just have all of these labeled. You've got miscellaneous notebooks, sight reading, different teaching tools, Music Mind Game manuals, extra notebooks, envelopes, cardstock, paper. That Studio Action file looks a little desperate, doesn't it? I'm not sure what's in there actually, so that might be a project for me. But anyway, so that's kind of the lowdown. I hope that that's helpful. I should stop moving the camera around. I hope that that's helpful. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. This is in my other studio organization, but this is all the music in use. So on the left are studio files, or our student files. You see all the names organized by the day of the week. And then on the right are all the books I'm using, and then some of the oversized larger ones there in the middle. And then actually, more music. So I have a drawer of all piano methods and everything. Speaking of labels, everything is labeled and organized by method. Again, so things are easy to find. I love when things are easy to find. And then on the bottom are all my piano technique, different rote, sight reading, improv, anything creative. So like a lot of the Forrest Kinney books I have down in that bottom bin. So I think that now is everything. So, and then of course, the ever famous large magnetic dry erase board on an easel, so you can see that. And really important is the coffee cup on my desk, right? So I hope that is helpful and gives you kind of a little bit, there's the chicken that does the dynamics, gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of how things roll here organizationally. I'm happy to answer any more specific questions, and my apologies because I know this is not like a professional sort of videography kind of job. So like I said, I hope none of you are all seasick. Alrighty, have a great night, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.